know that Nocron is not having a perfect 100% win rate. So I would totally agree, they shouldn't be underestimated, but I can share the point with you. Jinx needs a good start into this, because when you look at Babbo, Swatter, Hardwell, Excise, these crazy names, then it's also definitely proven from the past that once these players have a momentum together, and when they understand they have the upper hand here, they are very rarely giving it away. So Jinx better doing their homework here on the Nightmare. Moon, DMR, K, and Dark, our standard Jinx roster basically. And one thing we can tell so far, this is the dream corrupt for Dead Dog Saloon. Babbo is very happy about that.
Yeah, we found our first chase onto Dark. We do have that Ruin, of course. That has been a pretty common pick for... Oh, actually, it's opting to leave. Spreading the pressure, actually, with Ruin. It's been a pretty popular pick for Freddy because of just ability to move around the map. And when you have these situations where, like, survivors are sucked across the map and he's fighting to keep those generators alive, the Ruin is going to give him so much value. So I do think it's quite it's a bit of a risky perk, you know, being a hex perk, and it can be cleansed, but it does really pay off the longer that it stays in the trial, and especially when you go into that late game where they're fighting and actually getting a really nice pallet, like a pallet ignition onto K there. They took a tag, and that chase was over before I even finished my point.
Yeah, that's how quick we're gonna play this today. Here's Zach. We need to cast in double speed today, so we basically get all the infos together, because Babbo is going to have the first basement hook already, and the gen's already under pressure, so we need to make sure that we are getting all the stats and all the info in. One of the important stats from the background is 123 for the first down here, so not the worst first chase. Also Corrupt is now gone, so you could even flag that as a tactical play, but DMR now going to take the injury here with the Sloppy as well. That's going to trigger some interesting decisions later on. Survivor team needs to decide, do we want to stay injured, especially paired with the Ruin, to not lose some generator progress, or do we pull back, do we keep it calm and collected, but then sacrificing a few percentages on the generators. The question will also be, how often will we see surprising teleports? And the answer is, so far we see quite a few of them. Babbo switched back towards the hooked survivor, now onto the main building, getting everyone injured. And as a more of a weaker mid-tier killer, who the Freddy is here, that's definitely a good achievement in exchange for just one generator so far. Sloppy Ruin soon going to come in, doing a little bit of extra work for Babbo here. So far it's looking strong from Ariandel's killer.
I think so. It's such a masterful use of Freddy as well. He's teleporting at the right times. I mean, he even got the pallet timing on that first chase too. So Babbo, you know, showcasing those strengths that we talked about, you know, getting that 4K2 onto Cynic, and this is exactly like the recipe for success that he had last time. Opting to slug now, and he's just not giving up any pressure on the gens as a sort of general rule. That Sloppy still is applied when they're on the floor, I believe. So they're gonna have Kate taking a grab on the pallet. I think that was a bit awkward, really, but yeah, I just had to stop talking for a second while that happened. No, yeah, of course, that Sloppy Butch across all four survivors, and even when they're slugged, they still have the slowdown and things. So it's applying those injuries and then teleporting with the Ruin, and it's such a hard thing to play against, to be honest. Like, it delays you so hard in these games. Like, the survivors can't get anything done because Babbo is just all over you, like, from the start, and that's what he's been doing. He's just been back and forth, getting it down. Second stage onto K now, who's facing death at 4 gens. This is pretty much like exactly what we saw last time. It's just really strong early game from spreading that pressure, and Babbo, you know, showing he's consistent at it.
Yeah, this is important, right? What you said, that Babbo is constantly at them, basically. The map pressure that we have created at the moment is incredible. We see it right here. We are not only guarding the survivor that is currently at the hook, we also make sure that we are staying in our nice, cozy generator setup that we have back here. So even if you lose one of the gens now on the opposite side in the houses section, you do not worry too much. Even the main building gen is not too much of a loss here, because you have your 3 gen setup here. It was corrupted at the beginning. Babbo realized that, and then he took the advantage. It doesn't always or it is definitely not enough to just have a good 3-gen, and even having a little bit of luck with the corrupt, yeah, that comes in handy, but you need to understand it from the beginning, and you need to be able to take advantage for it. You need to push the survivors into that corner as Babu did, and then when you get the down there, they cannot rescue there. They can only get a few not so important generators out of the way, and now it's even going to snowball here a little bit. DMR on the ground, Dark already in the next chase, and during all this time, it is either moon greeting one of these generators to stop the ruin, but most likely is going to cycle to get DMR up. That means ruin now doing the job, all the survivors in danger. You can even decide as the killer, do I want to slug this further? Do I go for the hook stage potentially? We see the damage being done right here, 15% on the gallows generator. Babu right now absolutely cruising through the trial here. And if Jinx doesn't find potentially even a full reset and a longer mid-game chase, we will definitely only talk about the number of generators here.
Yeah, I think from that point of view, if you want to get those resets in, you need the ruin gone, right? Because you're sacrificing the progression that you're making on those gens in exchange for that reset. So maybe, I don't know if it's too late into the trial so far, I guess. I mean, we've got Survivor Deborah at 3 gens right now. Do you maybe take the game a little bit slower and try and look for that totem so that you can actually get rewarded for those resets? Honestly, I'm not too sure like what the best thing for Jinx to do here is, but yeah, you have a survivor slug, then this is about to be a second survivor going down. Don't think you make that pallet, no. And we're faced with a 4K3 right now. Look at that slow down on that heal. And Moon right now, the game is basically resting in his hands. TP gonna come through, and he's been found. Pickup comes through, but that's gonna be 4K3 secured.
Wow. And that happened out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere. It's just, we're talking about the game plan, and Bobo's like, actually, I don't think I'm gonna give him a chance to play the game. So there you go.
Yeah, we were, like 30 seconds ago, we were talking about a reset being needed and a little bit of a longer mid-game chase, then you can be fine. Otherwise, we talk about the number of generators, and Babo is basically like, well, let's not talk about anything and just end it right here. That's possible. That's definitely an attempt for a speed run, I would say. Crazy how that snowballed, basically. Sometimes we see the killer starting to slug, and then the survivor team can even counter it, and then you're like, okay, maybe the killer should have just taken the guaranteed hook stages, but he proved a really good sense. He knew where the survivors were. He knew one was still in the houses section because he just chased them off. He knew they are all injured. Knew that someone was working on the gallows area where you do not really have the most protection, especially as an injured survivor. You cannot really make it towards the main building by taking a hit. All of these factors brutally and efficiently calculated and brought to an end. This was a tutorial trial. I think people can learn from this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just looking at the individual chases.
Oh, we have the rare case. We have the rare case in the rule set where someone is speed. Babo!
Babo, come back to your desk. Stop getting your glass of water. DMR's off the hook.
Okay, this is like we never expected this to happen. So for everyone to understand, basically these survivors are not allowed to Kobe usually, but when they are all hooked, then they can go for unhook attempts to make it quicker. They have to stay under the hook. They cannot attempt escape. They cannot use decisive strike, etc. But it is also very unexpected, right? I think we never had it that someone actually Kobe'd when trying to speed up death. And as we can see, like, Babo already grabbed a bottle of wine to cheer on his win here. So he was in the basement real quick getting a good bottle up there. Great trial. I think he definitely deserves his celebration there. Well done, Babo. Zach, win condition is 4K4 basically for the upcoming trial. We talked about Jinx needs to play a good first set in order to make a smooth start. Now the win con is 4K4. How are you going to deal with that?
And we can see the only difference in build being the pain resonance in place of the ruin. So relatively similar builds, but we have the regression event instead of that sort of constant ticking regression that Ruin gives. And we were setting up main building, setting up Shack, trying to set ourselves up for that first chase. And we do see some progression on this gen here, so sniffing a survivor out. And that's going to be the balanced landing coming up from Swatter. It does make it to main building. And we're going to continue chase. This is going to be relatively close. He does make that window, so now we're going to continue chase around. And main building is coming through as the first chase. I have to say it's probably not the best place for that, but you do have that hindrance coming in. You've got Swatter in the Dream Ward, so that's going to apply, I think, 4 or 4.5 seconds of hindrance, which will definitely help in chase. And it looks like we might have an injury coming in soon. Early injury. That's good news for Dark. You can see, look, those 3 gens being worked on the Survivor. So this chase is pretty much everything in terms of securing a strong early game result. Oh, he doubles back actually, and Swatter just very smartly just holds that. But again, we've got main building into Shack. 2 extremely strong tiles. Dark understanding that he has to leave that, and we found 2 other survivors working on that middle generator. Looks like it was 2 gens that were working, so we're already facing sort of tie condition. Very interesting animation on that vault. I think it's one of those things where you get the hindrance come through mid-vault, and it just looks very, very strange. 2 injuries on the board so far. No gen to speak of yet, but there is one close. And I don't know, Dyer, I feel like we needed a down sooner, really, if we were hoping to kind of get any chance of winning this. Face now onto main building. 1 gen does pop. Second one is literally around the corner. As I'm just filling in for Dye, seems like he's having some mountain net problems. That's iPick coming down, and that was quite a long time for a down. We had two, nearly 3 chases in that time. 2 minutes and 16, so that's 45 seconds roughly longer than our first game. But we've already hit the tie condition for Ariandel, and this is the first hook stage. So, early game, still a relatively decent first downtime, you know, as far as Freddy goes. So you can be happy about that. But now you just sort of need to shake that off and forget that, forget how many gens are being down, just play out a good game. Now the magic being found in this corner. Whilst iPick sits on the hook. Dark now realizing that if he wants to win this set, I guess he can't let any gens go. So we're not opting to commit that. Unhook comes through. Playing this Tar nicely, but does eat the stun to the face. Yeah, I don't know, Dyer. It's looking bad for Dark, I think.
Yeah, this is a little bit what we didn't want to see, right? When we mentioned Ariandel doesn't need to take a 3-gen into account, they can be a lot more confident. And the worst thing that can happen is them leaving very early, not handing out mistakes or free injuries. And this is exactly what we see here. Ariandel, especially with this win condition in mind, they can leave the gens a little bit earlier because they know we don't need that many gens this trial. We don't have to grind every single second and percentage into the gens. It's better to be safe than sorry here, even now with the body block coming in. Beautiful to see that one of them will make it to main, the other one can at least circle around this pallet for a little bit longer. Just this mind game alone takes around about 10 seconds here. Nice fake there by the magic, not dropping the pallet, and we just go around and around 20 seconds now. That was a generous hit, but in exchange for that 3rd generator in the distance, Ariandel taking the win in set number 1, and this will not be a win most likely where we just talk about this 1 generator being enough due to the win condition. We will very likely see Ariandel going more and more onto the gens here, proving their efficiency, trying to grind towards the end game, and I would even believe that we see some stages coming out of the door if they continue like this.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of focused our narrative on Jinx a little bit, but this is Ariandel saying, we're at the top of the table right now. We want to stay there. Like, this is a incredibly consistent and strong performance coming out from them, not giving Jinx any sort of breathing room. We had Bubba all over them last game, and now the Survivor team is just absolutely bringing it home on their survivor side. But, you know, the momentum coming from this set alone is going to be... That was a very interesting hit on the last pixel there onto Swatter. Not going to be too happy about that one, are we? But, yeah, Ariandel just really impressing me with what I'm seeing here. Of course, I feel for Jinx because they do need this win, and you know they are in the middle of the table. They're sandwiched between basically everyone, and this is going to be pushing them into either the good side, like the better side of the table, or the worse side of the table. So it means more for them. But Ariandel absolutely want to be up there in terms of, you know, getting those 4 wins at the halfway mark. It's going to help them towards getting into playoffs. And yeah, I think we've kind of covered the standings really. But yeah, Ariandel just coming through with a strong performance, and 2 gens remaining. We only have 1 injury on the board, so they aren't really giving Dark any sort of room to put pressure on them.
And this is like, we are almost talking about different killers being played, right? If you compare Trial 1 and Trial 2, just like how the survivors are just like having fun here almost in the second trial, you would not think that we are playing the same killer. It's like day and night. It's nurse and trapper difference, basically. But what Babo just showed us with the Freddy and what Dark is capable of doing, and it's not even that Dark is doing a lot of mistakes here, or that it's true just solely on the responsibility of the killer player. It is also coming down to the survivor team not handing out free hits, being aware of the teleports, running away early, communicating very good, so more time is wasted when following a survivor. All of that is looking really, really strong right now. We are chasing in the corner over here in the gallows area. That means that the other survivors are currently grinding the generators here. So this might be a devastating first trial for Team Jinx with a lot of stages difference. Ariandel looking absolutely dominant. They are aware that Elysium is playing later today, that Elysium is watching this, hoping for a loss of Ariandel. And if another team is watching you, hoping that you lose, this is the best answer you can give to that.
Yeah, it's almost like a statement. It's a statement, and he's just winning every 50-50 as well. Just does not help Dark in his conquest of this game. And just look at that, the timing on the vault, and he just misses it twice. That's 2 times in a row. It was almost like, it's almost like polar opposite, right? Like you said, last game, Bobo was winning every 50-50 and Chase was getting pretty much every hit that he possibly could at the earliest point. Everything is sort of going in his favor, and now you have the survivor chases where Dark just can't make anything connect at all. I think he's taken a pallet stun on pretty much everything that's been dropped so far this game, or near enough. 80% of the pallets that they've dropped, they've slammed in his face. So, you know, just completely demoralizes you, to be honest, on the killer side. And yeah, we've got Swatter now in chase again. Is going to leap over that pallet as we see the animation again. Yeah, Ariandel, like, really just not, like, it's almost like we're not going to give you anything. Like, I mean, you give him a down here now, but it's nice to see. This is, I suppose, what we kind of expect from Freddy. What was that? Wait, what?
Look at them swarming around like a upswift.
Yeah.
They are all taking hits now. No, this is crazy.
He's asleep as well. That looks so weird in the dream world. But he's got the balanced landing to keep himself safe for the time being. But it doesn't look like Dark actually wants to commit that. Wants to say, Swatter, I've had enough of you. I want to chase this pesky little ace that stopped me from hooking you. This is generally playing out like a public game. Like, I'm going to go for the survivor that annoyed me, not the one that I was trying to kill in the first place.
Tunnel vision pure now, and then in the
look at
comment about gen rushing.
Get away from my ace, dude. You're not allowed to touch him. And we have these pellets still up, and oh Christ, again at this pallet. This pallet has just been like a
Wow.
thorn in his side as well. We need Dark. We need Dark to get at least one kill. Come on. No, he gets another pallet to the face. Oh, he's just not get. I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad at this point.
There is
This
no
is yeah, and they're all here too, so they're just gonna be
There's
leading
no
the
way.
trial. And oh, we had hopes for, I guess, Jinx coming into this, but Ariandel just saying, nope, we're going to be flushing those hopes down the toilet and absolutely demolish you in this first set.
That is great. We have like the fact that they are coming with 3 survivors to block a hook stage in the corner of the gallows area and then getting away with that cross map and taking 4 out. What? Just around about 2 years now. Jinx actually never brought it out. Also interesting that DMR joined the lobby first to set up the nurse, but then K now coming out. So not entirely sure what happened there on the discussion of Team Jinx, that they were basically trying to figure out who should take this difficult responsibility here. But they swapped the player from DMR back to K. K now coming out on the nurse here. So the first survivor decides that he doesn't want to chase over there, and that it's better to join back on the active generator. Potentially he's able to catch one of the survivors that was already busy right here. Bubble coming out, that's going to be the first injury here. So good first blink onto Bubble, and now is the question, how fast can you get it done? Double back into double back from Bubble, basically a triple back coming out from him here after his great Freddy performance, already shining again on the first chase, forcing K into an overblink now, and was a nice attempt there with the fake that he would drop the pallet, or trying to stun the nurse basically and hoping that she would blink into him and then getting away with that. Didn't work out, but a generator in exchange most likely is already a good start on the survivor side when you can trade 1 hook stage for 1 gen basically. So Ariandel off to a good start here, and hopefully K can continue the action.
Yeah, 1 minute and 12 seconds. That is, I think, probably around the average that we see for Nurse, maybe a bit above, given the strength of the killer. So K can feel good about getting that relatively straightforward down. A really nice chase from Bubba, though. Dodging out on like 1 or 2 blink sets. Of course, resulting to that first hook stage. But now we found Swatter over by this hill gen on the right-hand side. And taking the second blink actually to get that hit. That's going to be overcome use. And plot twisting actually at the hook, forcing the pick. But this is going to be the deliverance player on the floor. And Bubba doesn't, he gets a nice back. He gets a nice double back. I tripped over my words. What's that happened? How long can Bubba last? There should be enough time for Deli to get active. And look, just the double backs. Kate is not able to catch Bubba twice in a row there. Going for the chase of his life, and Swatter's going to be able to pick himself up with that plot twist. Will go down eventually. Yeah, so Swatter's going to make it to safety. Bubba now taking his second stage. So, I mean, you have the deliverance active now, and you're about to be at basically 2 gens remaining.
And hopefully we can speed it up a little bit, because I feel like K needs to be a little bit quicker still. Bubbo is in the second stage, but 3 generators are now already completed, and the other 3 survivors are all healthy. So they can swarm around the hook, they can go for saves, they can even take trades here. And they do not need to fear the nurse just blinking over and insta-downing them because they are not injured yet. Bubbo going forward. We see a little bit of body blocking coming in here by the magic. This can even be a few meters and be enough to make sure that you cannot catch up with the next 2 blinks on the What?
His blink got swallowed by oblivion.
Okay.
It wasn't even like the map. It was just like hell.
This is how strong Ariandel is, Zach.
I've never seen that before. Oh, the double back not working this time. K has learned, and that's gonna be Bubba going down. Was it just take a second? I had to pause. Is anyone here for the pilot save? No. So Bob is going to be going down. We were pretty close to that first to that last gen, well, the second to last gen, and we're about halfway on the last one. So this is good progress on the survivor side to answer to that first kill, popping that hill gen, and now we have a relatively good split on the map as well. So this is going to be really hard to defend for K. You've got the shack and main, the two furthest gens apart, and the middle water tower gen actually almost completed. So we are looking at potentially going into endgame with only 3 stages on the board. Because basically what happened last time, we do have the dying light in effect, but only 3 stacks on that. Gonna apply eruption to that one, and yeah, K's gonna need a down pretty much now. Like, there's not much time to waste. We are on that stairs, holding the blink instead of going for it. And look at this positioning. Another double back coming in from Swatter. Really well timed. I think that was Swatter. It was a little bit blurry on the screen, but either way, another person eluding escape, which is not what you want. We're holding eruption on that gen. And it's also play for time-wise. I mean, La Magic was the one working on that water tower gen. We do have an idea roughly of how far those other 2 are, so there's only a certain amount of time you can really commit to this, and Light's going to be used for safety. We'll go down eventually. Eruption would have triggered on that, but look at where we are. We're at the deep top side right now, and K is going to have enough time to actually go for this thing. So actually holding on just a little bit, guy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Hopefully a little bit of a gift from the survivors of Ariandel now. With that down, and Swatter and Heartful being the 2 unfortunately now there's the pick up the magic back on the feet here. It would have been the chance, right? If you now find one survivor quickly and you have the down there, and then you can try spread the pressure across the other survivors, that would have been a little bit of a chance for K here. 3 gen not available, so we need to be quick anyway. Nice blink there onto Swatter, getting the injury and the kick onto the main generator, but we need to go straight back towards the water tower here, and this is now the difficulty when you do not have a 3 gen, right? You have to go for basically, yeah, constant travel. You have to go from top side back towards the bottom side. I think Ariandel even did the killer a little bit of a favor here. It would have been much worse if the shack generator would be on 75%. So we can feel happy that it's only the water tower one, but the other 2 survivors in the distance working on the gens here. And that needs to be a slug, because the killer knows about water tower, knows about the main building. So K is slowly getting the control back in this trial. There's a potential shift here.
Yeah, we've got the 2 injuries. Swatter is the deliverance player, so at least for the survivor side. And oh my god, a nice blind coming in, denying that sort of last second hit there that would have secured the down. Swatter is absolutely having the chase of his life. Every chase that he's had so far this game has resulted in either K leaving him or just, I don't know, not going down without a fight. Hasn't taken a hook stage yet. Will go down now eventually, but that gives him time to actually pick up the botany knowledge coming in for the speedy reset. And this is huge now. So they have someone healthy. Swatter is the deliverance player, so they don't have to worry about him if he gets hooked. And it's all about if she can find, if our nurse player can find hardware right now, but they're stealthing out so well. That was looking scary because we had 1 slug on the side of the map and 2 injured survivors facing death, but Swatter coming in with an absolute chase of his life on the top side has brought his team back into it, and now the ball's back in K's court pretty much. Live's going to be used on the shack window, chasing around. Double back not going to be not going to be working out this time. Yeah, Hardwell picking up, and this is good because if you have that regressing gen, you're buying time for your team, or you're buying yourself time as killer rather. Hardwell's now been found. The Magic's still on the floor, and it's really just like it's a matter of who messes up first. If you'd agree.
I agree, and I hope. I have hopes. I have hopes and prayers and wishes for Team Jinx here that they can keep this under control, that we will see. Swat unfortunately not handing out the down right here. That would have been such an important one. But yeah, I have hope that K can shut it down right here. That would be the comeback chance for Jinx down in the corner here. That will be a bit of a travel time for the survivors as well, keeping them away from the gens. We have a lot of pressure over here. Short moment of undetectable. Maybe that's a good chance to get an unexpected down, to put some pressure back up. Ace left early. Nia left early as well, already on the shack. So now it's important, yeah, that we do not check too long on the main building. But what a double back on the pallet here by Hardwell. Oh, this is so... I don't want to be in the position of K at the moment, because you basically have not room for a single mistake at the moment. You cannot go for any overblink, and he does get Hardwell onto the floor here, knows where the other two survivors are, because we just had the pickup in the distance. The question is just, did they move towards the shack or straight back towards the generator right here? We do not see the scratch marks. So they went for the reset. That means they're potentially still in the corner here. K trying to scout, trying to find them, and we would need them so desperately. Bill still over here in the corner. That's a good blink right there. Injury, and now the shack survivor. If this is a quick double... Yeah, it is a double down. So the other survivor still busy rotating. K now in the position of control. That has the chance, Zach. Either it's the 4K now or it slips out of the hand, I feel like.
Yeah, finding that reset position, not quite interrupting it, but spotting them out is good information for K, because now you have a relative idea where all three survivors are. When you play the 3v1, information's so key. I would like to see if Toby, our stats analyst, can actually measure the blood pressure of K. Like you said, this is probably one of the most stressful situations you can be in, especially when you really do kind of need a result like a 4K1 on the Nurse to have like a good feeling, or at least set your survivor team up for a bit of success. After that Freddy set, we have found Swatter. Swatter is pretty close on the bleed out. Hasn't been picked up. Kate smelling that deliverance after he went for that first unhook. Of course, he's got no plot twist to use because he used it under the hook at that point. So we won't be able to get another use out of that perk until the end game reaches. But yeah, the Magic still healthy right now. Swatter does get picked up. And we see some scratch marks actually. Who is this going to be? And it's Hardwell injured on the ace, but again, just look, we're only getting our downs in like the far corners. You know, we're going down in Narnia every single time, and you just have to go so far. You can't make it across the map in that one rotation of blinks. You need at least two, and that wastes so much time, and they're maximizing the amount of distance between each chase. And it's the only reason that Ariandel is still in this, I feel like.
Yeah, compared to the previous downs that we had, though, Ariandel does recover a little bit. We had situations where we had two down survivor at the same time, or we had where the injury counter was basically a lot higher. Now we are back to just one survivor injured and Swatter running, so not even close to having the second down followed. And this is a huge recovery for Ariandel. They are in a much better spot now. Not so much the control and dominance of K anymore. Swatter taking the injury, and once again we go into the corner here. That means our killer has to rotate away, needs to check on the generators, cannot let that happen. So Swatter getting away with that, which also proves that K is in a little bit of a weaker spot than 2 minutes ago, because 2 minutes ago he had the time to follow these survivors when he wanted the down. He was able to force 2 downs at the same time. Now the survivor is deciding a little bit again what is happening in the trial and what is not possible, with running into the corner here, forcing the killer to leave. Will be K's job now to make sure that he gains that dominance back, that before Hartwell is picked up, we at least need an injury onto Nia or Bill in order to keep up with the pressure here. Finds one of them rotating towards the top side. That could be a punishing chase. Unfortunately, getting swallowed into the rock there. And now it will most likely be Swatter who's trying to rotate on the right side. Not sure if K found him there, but Hartwell now picked up. So that means that the survivor already successfully made it into K's back here. But now we have to consider the shack generator again. So we cannot chase these 2 survivors because we know that LeMagic is back down here. It's a constant play now for interrupting these survivors, and the survivors trying to drag the killer away from the objectives. Zach, this is a true standstill at the moment, and it's a true mind game. Who will become more nervous eventually, who will overcommit or become too risky, and then it's going to be tricky here.
Yeah, and I just made a little bit of an observation while you were talking there, because we do have Dying Light slowing these gens down, but if you've noticed, it's been LeMagic going for these resets and these pickups. Now he's the Obsession, so given that the perk gives the sort of healing boosts to the Obsession, he's got botany knowledge too. So as long as LeMagic isn't found and isn't going down, like, the survivors have a chance, you know, to stay on their feet. I mean, the bleed out will happen eventually, but just on the survivor side, they have the fast resets, but the gens are going so slowly. And I do wonder if maybe he wants to get some pop usage, but just probably feels like he doesn't have the time. Chase now coming onto Swatter. LeMagic is about 30% on that gen. And Hardwell's going to be bleeding out in the next 30 seconds. Swatter goes down here, and we may potentially be looking at the end of the game. Does dodge out on that first blink. This chase needs to last. I don't know how long K wants to commit this, but overblinks on that tile, and this is insane pathing from Swatter. Actually goes across the window, give away his position, forcing the grab. Look at that gen, it's so close. Swatter needs to last here. He needs to dodge out maybe 1 set of blinks. He needs 1 more dodge. He doesn't get it. Is it enough? Is this the shack gen that's being worked on? I think they pop this. I think they do.
Now or never. Yeah.
They pop the gen, and all of that work that K's been grinding for is sort of out the window. But it came down to such last minute. Now that's going to be so nice for Fallen Out on that return fixture when he's playing for that 4K1 win con. And then you have the survivors of Jinx now who have to secure outs as well if they want the win. I mean, this is all, you know, presuming that they maybe play for Hatch. He is in this corner here, and Swatter's about to bleed out. This actually could work. The bleed out's about to happen. It's on the other side. Does he make it? He has life. Oh, but the Nurse has control of the side of Shack. Yeah, I don't know if this... I think this is a 4K0, yeah. This was close. Oh! His blink gets swallowed there, but yeah, that's gonna be the 4K. Unless LeMagic can whip up the... Oh, no, just says hi. gives him a little kiss. But yeah, wow. Getting that last gen done is huge for Ariandel, considering the fight that it took to get there.
Crazy comeback from K, I would say, and from Jinx in general after this nightmare on the Freddy, we have to say. Coming back here with a lot of pressure on the shoulders, knowing that your survivor team is watching you, knowing that the expectations of also your fans basically are looking at you and saying, okay, put the Freddy trials aside, get your mind on a refresh, come into the Nurse game and make sure that Ariandel is not getting away with a 2-0 here. That was basically the yeah, the cornerstone now to make a good survival.
Welcome back, everyone, and we now have Fallen Art for Team Ariandel on the Nurse, and immediately I see Undying being used on its own, which is maybe looking for some aura value this game, potentially. Aside from that, we've got Corrupt Intervention, very, very classic perk, and Eruption and Pop, of course, for that generator slowdown. But already seeing some Undying value, it looks like, as we move on to the Shack, getting a first chase pretty much immediately, and this is not in the right place. So dire, this is a firstly extremely fast down, and secondly in the absolute wrong place on the map.
Yeah, it's a tricky start for Jinx, 100%. You really want to get this started differently, right? Especially after K, and it is unfortunately even K who's not able to follow the great Nurse performance where he kept Ariandel with a 4K, and hello, Mathis getting a little bit surprised there, gets away without attack here, luckily. So we do not need to worry about the deliverance. It will be the trade at least possible. They might even get away with it because Fallen Art can only now go for the injury right here. Will not even worry about Mathis at all. K is the target, and before K can even leave the window to get the light off, we already have it, but getting the vault out, 3 seconds lost right there. If this is now combined with the decisive strike, the other survivors can hop back onto the generators. Will it be more than a double back? The answer is no. The attempt is the only thing that we are going to have right here. So okay, back onto the hook, but the survivors use that time. We will most likely see 2 generators coming out of the way here. That's good for them, a good and important start, but we definitely need a little bit more, and I feel like we need to make sure that K is not immediately dying with the next unhook, right? Because a 3v1 would, considering the win condition of getting an out here, a little bit too early.
Especially when you've got Fallen Art, who has his surveillance totems in between the hook and the top side. I sort of like in the background was mentioning that the 2 chases we had at the start both revealed survivors like aura, which resulted in a hit / down. So already coming in clutch as a perk, and I feel like it's just something that I've seen so much recently on Cold Tower Nurse sets where we've got Undying. It's just the aura reading on even 3v1 situations where that comes through, and I don't think you actually get that unhook. It's going to be very close. It's going to go down, but it's very, very unsafe. And now K already used the decisive strike, and again aura reading on the Undying. Is going to see which way that he runs around Shag, and you will go down. And I mean, contrary to what you said, that's going to be a death at 3 gens remaining, and the second survivor down is at that hook. So this, I mean, if the basement isn't Shack right here, then that could be even worse. We are now getting to 2 gens, almost 1 gen remaining. So actually, the efficiency on the gens, I want to say is quite impressive. It's definitely doable in a 3v1 when you have 1 gen remaining. We said that it was an early down, but actually never mind. Like Jinx have completely cranked those gens out. Oh, they didn't actually get to pop it, and now that's been popped. But we were close.
And I feel like that was needed. I feel like that's going to be a very punishing turn of events now that this generator didn't come through and takes the pop kick there. That's quite some time that you have to spend there, and Moon getting downed right here. Fallen Art not making mistakes here on these blinks, celebrating a bit. We see the Undying value right there. The reset coming out in the distance, but Fallen, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. The surveillance cameras of Fallen Art are just too strong.
The CCTV.
Knowing exactly where just getting the free information there, and that's not more but going into the corner here. And yeah, 2 generators still with the need of being repaired. Survivors need an out in order to take the win here, and I think when we look in a few minutes on the entire trial, we will realize how punishing this pop pick that interrupted the main generator really was, because the team really needed to get that done.
Yeah, just so close, not able to pop it in time. And of course, I mean, if you want to grade that, you almost sacrifice the whole game to commit that. So I think making the best of that bad scenario, but ultimately it has punished them so hard. And the Undying, I think, being the MVP of this set, to be honest, seeing 4 survivors like 4 or 5 times, especially when they're resetting off resistance. You had Mads thinking he was all safe in the corner, hidden away. And then you've got a nurse blinking on you all of a sudden. You're like, excuse me, what's going on? Just like bad luck. And his slug is still on the totem, actually. So even if Dark went for that pickup there, he would have been spotted. And wait, did he get spotted out at Shack? Oh, I do wonder if that rotation... Okay, it doesn't look like he was. Did manage to staff out there. Unhook does come through. And mentioned it was a slug. It's actually the plot twist that Mad used. But plot twisting on the Undying totem, so that actually could have been a disaster on its own. Christ, there's so many things that could be going wrong right now for Jinx. Oh, nice dodge out. Nice pallet stun from Moon on the top side of the map now. And the dead hard as well. Moon coming in clutch for his team. And the rest of the survivors now working the gen. Is going to go down, though, unfortunately, in this pallet gym here. I don't know. It's the resets come through the plot twist. Moon makes it to the top side of the map. Wastes a lot of time. So the survivor team somewhat on their feet now, splitting 2 gens. Oh, that's a 2v1, which I failed to realize now. So whilst they were looking strong, that death actually now maybe doesn't let them even get outs potentially.
And it all throws me back towards that main generator. Imagine they would have get this done earlier before the pop king kick came through, and now we would only need to worry about 1 generator down here. This one has a lot of pressure already, but imagine 2 survivors would have been able to just grind it the entire time. We might even talk about the end game now, but all of that is obviously speculation, because the Fallen Art, we mentioned it earlier when we talked about Team Ariandel in the campfire chat. Fallen Art, one of the most famous names when it comes to the Nurse. It was a surprising decision even that Jinx picked the Nurse as one of their first Nurse attempts in DBDL against this team here, and we see that they're accepting their faith here. Dark is going to just get grabbed from the generator here, and that's going to be another set point going to Ariandel here with a 2-0. Now an important step towards the win today. Important steps to also send a message towards Elysium. Listen up. You are behind us, you will stay behind us, because if Ariandel takes a 3-0, then Elysium can take the greatest 3-0 as well. They will not get past Ariandel. So Ariandel will play this upcoming set like a little bit of a grand final here. They do not want to go into the Dark Lord set number 4. They want to make sure that it ends with the Spirit. And Spirit will be an interesting killer, because we haven't seen too much Spirit in Season 10. She has dropped popularity a little bit again. Same for the Scrim Nights that we are hosting throughout the week. So will be an interesting killer to pick up.
Yeah, she's one of those killers in our tier 1 that can actually be a bit of a pushover. Because we've seen when Altruism comes in and we prevent that first elimination, she struggles a little bit in the 3v1. I know in the 4v1, I want to say. So it always leads to like these sets that could go horribly wrong either side, and it really all depends on getting that first elimination. It's one of those things that I think maybe players don't really enjoy. I don't know. It's ultimately, if you're facing this tunnel out so early on.
Spirit, as we mentioned back in eternal times, he was dangerous and he was famous for his mind games, for his reads, but that's been quite a while ago. So let's see if he got a little bit rusty or if he secretly maintained the skills on Spirit to just wait for the right moment. So far it looks pretty good, because that's the first injury onto K. K, for some reason, started off as the hero a little bit, brought Jinx back with the Nurse trial, then 2 times the first target. Wonderful stun here by K, moving over, holding W to make sure that Babo has to follow up and loses some time. This is a tricky palette to mind game around, because he has to face quite some distance. K going for a late rewalt, but unfortunately getting grabbed right there. So Babo getting the first down right here. Mathis and Moon working on a generator together in the distance. And we already have Laurie lurking around for the save. It seems like the strategy is clear. You want to get the survivor as quick as possible back into the trial. Generator getting interrupted once again. We have just seen that in the Nurse trial. And this will once again be punishing, because when you double up in the first chase, you usually want to get that generator out of the way. Otherwise, it would be a good idea to just go for the next. And Matt's going down right here. Was that the Dragon Script value?
It was, yeah.
Finally! Fans of Dragon Script! Your day has come! I didn't even realize.
Yeah, because Bobo was going to go back to the hook, but then they sort of touched the gen before he'd even left. So he was like, oh, do you know what, actually? Come on, then. And he gets him down. That's Matt's going to be taking the Dragon Script down. But now, I mean, you've lost K, I suppose, so maybe Matt's is the new target. Pop going to be applied on that gen, and we see Dark there lurking around with Sprint Burst. Unhook's going to come through. And ultimately, Bubbo doesn't really lose out on any time here. I suppose it would have taken way longer to find K there, and good decision making coming out from him. And he finds Mad straight away. That's going to be a second stage onto Mad so quickly. And the pallet save does not come through, giving them Nopas onto K. And I feel like the trial's kind of falling apart so early on. We've got Pop that slowed down that gem progression, the Dragon Script value, and now a really fast second stage, even not even being the first chase of the game. So it's really shaping up to be a difficult trial as we start out. That Pop value is crazy though.
Yeah, and I feel like we can feel a little bit that the first 2 sets are a little bit on the shoulders and in the mind of the Jinx players here, right? You are under a lot of pressure. You cannot make a single mistake. You have to basically bring out your perfect game now. And the best case is getting a tie now, which would still be beneficial for Team Jinx, because not a lot of teams will grab 1 point of Ariandel. A lot of other teams will take the lose. But you can feel it's not going so confident. The efficiency is a little bit dropped. We're still on 5 gens, even though we have seen some of the hook stages already coming through. And then even unfortunate things happen, right? Like the Dragon Script, for example. Very often in the campfire chats in Season 10 so far, we talk about the question, is Dragon Script even a reasonable pick? Because very, very often it doesn't come into effect and it's too situational. And this time, especially when Jinx is in a difficult spot already, they are facing the unfortunate truth that it works out. Moon around for the pallet save here. Bubbo checking. They might be able to get that done, but Bubbo even sniffs that out. Oh, it's rough. I feel bad for Jinx. They are really struggling here. They are trying a lot, but I feel like Bubbo is just too dangerous.
Yeah, his game sense is definitely one of the things that contributes to his really strong performances. Smells the saver, or the pallet saver as well, and then able to just follow up pretty quickly and get the down. Not enough distance made by Moon there, but in between sort of that chase, and Mad's picking himself up, and now Mad is eliminated from the trial. They do answer with 2 gens. Moon not being picked up. Oh, it looks like he wants to go and check on these gens and has this hook sort of in the bot side where you don't have too much safety. I mean, you have this kind of 4-gen really on this bot side where he can sort of monitor those. So even with that positioning on the survivor, it's going to make it even harder for Jinx to come back from this. Early tunnel light coming through. They're going to need a couple of really strong mid-game chases. Moon now being picked up off the floor. And nice sprint burst coming through Dark to save that. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, Bobo has time here. You can commit to this chase. He does have the time. That was a very weird laggy looking hit on my screen. Don't know if you saw that too, but Dark now taking the injury. Going to be chased down now. Onto this filler tile. Not going to come through, and it's not going to quite connect. And now we make it back to Shaq. A little bit of safety there, secured for Dark, but not opting to commit that. Actually, just see Moon here. Blind not going to come through. It was an attempt that he made, and this concentration of gens is going to hurt them a little bit later into the game. Just see if these chases in the mid game could maybe sort of help them clear those. But in the 3v1, it's so hard. Moon's going to go down, make some good distance into the top side of the map. But, oh, I just feel like the pressure is a bit too much right now for the survivors to handle.
Yeah, Babbo is just one step ahead. I feel like Jinx has good ideas. We have seen, for example, the pallet save attempt where Survivor was around. When that didn't work out, they had the Unbreakable in the back pocket, so they tried to waste the time. They are trying to stick to the generators. They know which generators to repair. So on the theory aspect, a lot of things definitely make a lot of sense that Jinx is trying to achieve here. The problem is just on the survivor side, especially the most valuable resource is time. You need time to get a reset. You need time to go for a generator. You need time a little bit to get an unhook before the next survivor is downed. And Babbo is just able to cut this time that is needed basically in half, if not even further than that. Now we have the difficult situation again. We have a survivor already eliminated, which cuts the resources on the survivor side and basically makes the need for time a lot higher. You now need longer mid-game chases even to recover from it. You need even longer... and unfortunately this doesn't even work out as well. Moon just being found here on the edge of the map. And yeah, now, Zach, you used the wording earlier that things are falling apart a little bit. And I feel like it's the perfect description, because a lot of things that Jinx is also planning in order to make a comeback, in order to get a little bit out of this situation, all of these little things, even they don't work out now. If he finds Lori here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay, really, at least this worked out, but... it's not really their game today.
As a British saying, getting caught with your pants down, and that was definitely one of those moments where you're stuck in a corner with nowhere to go. But not going to get found there. Moon now approaching elimination. We do have an answer with 3 gens completed, but we are sort of facing a bit of a potential 2v1 scenario. Can see K there working on a generator. Dark is still lurking by the bus where that gen was being worked on, and I don't know, based on the distance and the positioning of Bobo, I don't know if they'll get this save, to be honest. Looks like they might be opting for the 2v1, but actually missing the skill check, and I don't know if that could kind of contribute to his death there. I don't know if he had enough distance, but I mean, that would have been quite close, actually. Bobo was there to prevent it, but it looks like they did want to save Moon last minute, but at least I heard him miss a skill check. I don't know. But now we're in a 2v1, and that's going to make it even harder. Light's going to come through on that TNL wall. We've got this filler pallet, but Bobo reads the vault very nicely. Going to get that hit secured. We have the safety of this car pallet. We're going to be phasing around, but... just look at the lethal, like, look at how lethal he is on his Spirit. Just precision on his phases, can read survivor movements, and also it's his game sense. We saw this on the Freddy set where he's just winning all these 50s, and it's just something that I think what makes Bubbo such a strong killer, especially when you have these higher tier killers, because he combines the game sense with those strong chase powers, and these chases aren't going on for very long. Dark able to bait out the sprint burst swing, so good use of the puck from him, but yeah, just everything kind of going right for Bubbo and everything sort of going wrong for Jinx.
Yeah, something is not working out yet, and it's going to be once again the responsibility on the killer side of Jinx now to make a move. 4K2 will not be enough next trial, because if we would tie it, there would only be one set remaining, and Ariandel is already up 2-0, so there's no chance for Jinx getting a tie or win anymore. So Ariandel would just take the 2-0. The damage you would do to Ariandel then is you basically make sure that they don't take another set point and that the set win percentage is dropping a little bit. But if you want to make a move for yourself, you need to get a 4K3 in the upcoming trial. You have to win this. A tie will basically still be a loss. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be basically the third time in a row now that Jinx is under pressure, that Jinx is playing against the odds, and that they need to find some good idea how to make a return. Hopefully they are able to sit together, discuss a strategy. Hopefully their Spirit is coming out, getting a quick down, potentially even chaining some injuries together. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna hop on a very short break, and we will be here with you with the potentially final trial between Ariandel and Jinx after this short break.
Welcome back, everyone. We have Moon now on the Wreckers Yard for Team Jinx, playing Spirit and faced with a win condition of 4K with 3 generators remaining. So far this match, they've really had very difficult win conditions set by a team of Ariandel, and it has been an uphill battle from the start for Jinx. So coming into this trial, they're going to need a very, very strong performance from Moon, all the weight on his shoulders for his team, and like we discussed, this has to be a win for them to continue through this match. But however likely that is, we're not sure. Sprint burst now coming in with Swatter. We did find a survivor earlier, but the chase didn't really come through, and the swing misses through the pallet. Not a good start, but a nice mind game actually coming through on that tile. Swatter decided just to send it, but good double back from Moon to get that first injury. Now we come over to this pallet here. Relative safety, but does not drop it on the right side. And Moon's going to get a relatively early down coming into this. We did make it up to the corrupt side. So good positioning from Swatter in the end there to go from so that's unsafe bottom side to that place where essentially none of your teammates are, which is why quite often you see chases taken into that zone. And taking the hatch, he's gonna wiggle.
No,
he
not
saves
again.
him. No, that's the second game in a row where we've seen him sending it. Oh, and he crouches and jukes him out. Oh, Dyer, this is hard to watch. This is a little hard to watch.
This is so painful because Jinx doesn't deserve it, and they are fighting and trying and working, but Ariandel also deserves all the credit and compliments for what they bring on the stage here. It is one thing if you take hits against Freddy in the end game, where you know that the trial is done and that you definitely took the set point, but it's another thing to have so much confidence that you do that in the early game against the Spirit, where things can really backfire. But look at that, even the injury for taking the hit is already healed. and the generator has been completed. So basically no loss on the side of Ariandel, only time getting gained there for the Survivor team. What a phenomenal play by the entire team. Ada being found next, doesn't even drop the pallet here. LeMagic doing a good job saving the health state and the resource. Moon going back towards the unhook, and the tunnel target is clear. Water needs to be removed from the trial as quick as possible. Should reach the shack pallet here. That's going to be a punishing stun, costing a few seconds. Moon needs to break it, wants to go back also. So even the tunnel out strategy is now not working out.
Yeah, and every second counts, right? Because for Ariandel, all you need to do is do 4 generators for the win. They're playing for that win condition and just preventing any form of pressure on the killer side. Of course, when that survivor is hooked, it kind of gives the killer a bit of tempo, and then the survivors are in a position where they need to answer it. That did come through eventually, but not at the not before Ariandel had something to say about it with that really nice hit tank at the hook there, giving Swatter a little bit of time before that first hook comes through, and then making the shack pallet, denying that that second stage. And now we have 2 gens completed and only 1 hook stage to really speak of. This is absolute disaster for the killer of Jinx, and this is not what you need if you want to secure a 4K3. Essentially now it's looking like an impossible task. So do you feel for Jinx? They've had a hard run through this match so far, but again, that's only speculation, which we do not want to do. We want to wait to see how this trial pulls out. Maybe Ariandel will make a big fumble and all of them go down in the space of 2 minutes. Who knows? Could go either way. Bobo now using the firecracker. Doesn't get the blind. But, oh, actually, paths very, very nicely away from that edge map filler tile. 3rd gen now pops. So now, I mean, that essentially secures the tie for Ariandel, but for Jinx, that means that no matches will be played after this one, basically, like Dyer outlined before the break. And we're going to continue chase on this pallet gem. Good mind game there, actually resulting in the down and not dying under a pallet. So a little bit of safety for now. And wants to slug this, actually. Good positioning, and it's going to be a fast pickup off the floor. Moon looking to defend these gens. And swings a little bit too late on that window vault. So Hardwall's going to live to see another day. Pickup comes through, and the reset too. These resets, these heals, they're coming through so fast, Dyer. And all of the pressure essentially is just being erased as Moon sort of makes any sort of progress. Ariandel Survivor is just like, never mind. I think we're just going to reset this in the space of about 15 to 20 seconds. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, LeMagic now going for a run again. You have to decide, do you really want to follow this survivor? Because that's going to cost some time. Difficult mind game here. Moon cannot even phase all the way on to the survivor, has to come out of the phase early, and LeMagic wanted to go for a 9. Don't do that to 9.
No.
9. Don't do that to Jinx. Don't do that to Jinx. Please stop it. By the love of God, stop it. LeMagic.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you know it's bad when the gem comes out of the 9.
This is when you know that something is really unacceptable in DBDL. when I cannot control that I'm speaking German, then you know I'm losing my mind.
Oh, but with that gen pop, that's going to be the win secured for Ariandel. So now we're just going to be watching the game of DBD unfold. See if Ariandel can just keep up the momentum that they have in this set. But yeah, picking up. I mean, Moon opting to slug, they pick up, they get the reset. And then the one down that he does secure that he wants to pick up his flashlight saved, and then he gets a pallet in the face. It is just unspeakable, the horrors that we are witnessing for the killer of Jinx right now. On the wrong side of the tower there, unfortunately, not being able to see it where Bobo is, or read where he is, at least. Playing this car, he does make it back around to that pallet. Oh, not if that happens. It's going to take this It's going to take the smack. Oh, and the little emote coming through.
Confidence,
Okay. Like, knowing my team is full well on these gens, chase me if you want. This is just absolute confidence coming through from Bubba on this chase. Oh, mistake. Oh, okay. Well, you egoed him, and look at what happened.
Yeah.
Look at what happens.
This is where you need to be careful with the confidence, but it makes a lot of sense, right? Saying chase after me to force the tunnel vision there on the killer. You also know your opponent is most likely a little bit angry there, so they might even fall for your emote saying come after me. You have to get a little bit of extra time for your survivor team, but also collecting a few negative karma points. However, Le Magic moving towards the exit gate, Bubble being reset in the distance, and we might actually see Ariandel taking the 4 out here. So that's just going to be Hartwell and Le Magic now leaving the trial. Swatter and Bubble are going to stay on the other exit. They have enough time opening that, celebrating here a little bit. So
an interview.
Congratulations to Team Ariandel. They make sure that Elysium is definitely going to stay behind them with this clean win, and that actually has a huge effect on the next game that we see tonight, because Elysium, yeah, they need to accept that the best case is catching up or basically staying in the same distance to Ariandel, but they have to make sure that they do that, and they need to win with a 3-0 against Wix. Even a 2-0 wouldn't be great, a 2-1 wouldn't be great. It needs to be a clean 3-0 now. Otherwise, Ariandel basically gets a little bit of a head start towards Elysium, and Elysium wants to make sure that this is not going to happen.